What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the 10-game Wednesday slate. So, hopefully, you guys all had a good day yesterday of NBA. We'll say solid one on Draftkings, scored over 282, so cashed in double ups and some tournaments. Kawhi Leonard was great, dropping 60. So, second time in a row, the thumbnail has dropped 60 drafting points. So, let's see what hopefully tonight's thumbnail can do the same. So let's get into it. As always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's see if we can get 150 plus likes. I would appreciate that. You can check out the website, follow me on Twitter, check out Prize Picks. All that info is in the description. Also, if you want to play PGA, you can check out the video that I posted yesterday. So without any further ado, let's get started. There are 10 games. There's one game that just jumps off the page as one to target, and I will have a ton of players from that game. If you want to guess, then hopefully you're right. I will say the answer in 3 seconds. It is Houston OKC. That is the game that I will be stacking up, and I encourage you to do the same, at least as of now, unless we get a lot of other news on the slate. But going by position here, point guard Luka is 10-8. He's been fine all season. He's been a little bit up and down recently. Well, he's been a little bit down just in general recently. 4 games below 50 DraftKings points. His shooting is still fine. He takes a ton of shots. It's a really good spot, though, against Atlanta. I'm expecting this game to be high scoring. Him and Trae Young squaring off. They both, want to prove that they're the best. So I think you definitely can get Luka. I prefer Trae Young at 9,500, though. He's been better than Luka recently. He's still having to play without DeAndre Hunter, who was pretty good offensively and taking good shots and taking a lot of shots. And they've really run up his minutes on Trae Young recently. So you're getting full minutes out of a guy in what should be a close game against a Dallas team that is decent defensively, but they're at home here in Atlanta. Young has been good at home this season. Expecting Young to continue his string of 50-point games, and he looks really good at 9,500. Westbrook could rest on a back-to-back. They have been doing that for all season so far, so we'll see if he's not able to play. He was fine last time with a triple-double, dropping 50 last night. I definitely like Trae Young out of the guys at the top. And then I'm not that interested in Chris Paul with Devin Booker probable, although Chris Paul had another good game even with Devin Booker in. But I'm not going to play him at 83. Not going to really play Ben Simmons with Embiid back. Just think I'd rather go Embiid. Oladipo is another strong play. We'll touch on him at shooting guard. But, first we'll just touch on this game, Houston and OKC. This is a game where you want to stack it up. So many stud players are out on both sides. The pricing hasn't adjusted. No SGA on the Thunder side. No John Wall on the Houston side. The Rockets are also without a pretty valuable reserve in David Nwaba, who was seeing good minutes off the bench, like 20s, high teens. So without him and without John Wall, you're going to see a ton of minutes open up on the Houston side for House, Jayshawn Tate, 2 guys that should get a lot of minutes, maybe Sterling Brown. But it's going to open up a lot more usage for Christian Wood at only 8,600, and then definitely Victor Oladipo. And then on the OKC side, no SGA, no George Hill. So the ball is going to be in Theo Maledon's hands at only 4,300. You're going to see Hamidou Diallo most likely start in place of SGA. You're going to have, and then Al Horford be able to play with a little bit more usage, and he's actually been playing better recently. So you have Horford, and then you have Bazley as 4 guys that are going to just command a lot more usage without SGA. So that's why that game is going to be super important and super valuable to target. But going back to point guard here, definitely love Oladipo at 7,800. LaMelo Ball, I'm not going to be playing him at 7,000, even if Rozier is out. I think that's decently high price tag. I like a lot of other guys. Kemba Walker, I like him at 65 without Smart. Probably won't play Kobe White at 61. I don't think I need to go too cheap with just how much value there is in that Houston game. And then in the 5K range, you have Eric Gordon, who will benefit without John Wall. You have Halliburton, although it's a tough matchup. He's at 5,400. And then below 5,000, we have Derek White. They're going to be without Aldridge, so they'll probably start Jakob Poeltl, but you could see Derek White get a lot more minutes and probably play in the mid-20s, high 20s. He's only 4,400. He could be an overlooked value play. And then you have the Theo Maledon at 4,300 as a guy that's just going to be a good value play. So moving on to shooting guard, Bradley Beal. If Westbrook is out, he looks to be a tremendous option at 97 against Miami. I believe they squared off once. Oh, some other team. But Bradley Beal should just dominate usage if there is no Bradley Beal tonight. So he would be a really strong play. Levine's price tag is nice at 85. On any other slate, I would be all over that. Still like him quite a bit, but I think that I'd rather go to Oladipo at 78 at this position. Just too cheap without John Wall. His minutes are like through the roof, potentially. The Rockets have been super good, so they've been blowing teams out. But without John Wall, hopefully this game stays close. We'll see, because OKC is also missing their best player. But if they can keep this game close on the road, then you should see like 30. We've seen him play 37 minutes in close games. So 37 minutes for Victor Oladipo. Point Victor Oladipo without John Wall. Just going to be so good. We saw like the first couple games without John Wall, Oladipo went nuts for the Rockets. He had like a 54 and a 45. That would be nice at this price tag. So I like Levine a bit, but I really like Oladipo. If Russell plays, he's only 68. That's a nice tag. Definitely on D'Angelo Russell. And then I'm not that interested in really this mid range. I'm not interested really in Beasley, White. Lamb is all right at 57, but there's some better value plays on the slate. I like Eric Gordon. I like Anthony Edwards at 54. If Russell misses, he would be a tremendous option. Since he's been starting, he's seeing pretty decent minutes. They do play a bunch of guys, so haven't seen their starters play like high 30s like a lot of other teams, so that can be frustrating. But he would be a nice play if there's no Russell. And then Cam Reddish, it's a better spot to target him compared to last game against the Lakers. Then Diallo looks to be a great option. He will be my small forward of the day. $4,500 for Diallo should be playing a lot of minutes tonight. Probably will play 30 plus. He's a guy that is a good fantasy player when he's given opportunity and given minutes. He's averaging well over a drafting points per minute on the season. He's aggressive, shooting, getting to the basket. A lot to like with him, and I really like the price tag at only 4,500 without SGA. Expecting a 30-point game at least, or 30 drafting points at least, out of Diallo tonight. Other guys at this position that are cheap, you have Morris at 45 if they decide to rest Paul George or Kawhi on a back-to-back after that tough game last night against Brooklyn. He would be a decent option. And then there is no David Nwaba, so then we have Jayshawn Tate at 47. You have Miles Bridges at 46. Without PJ Washington, you should probably draw the start. If there's no Rozier, that's just even better for Bridges, so he looks to be a good option. I love Jayshawn Tate at only 4,700. He should play high 20s, maybe low 30s in minutes without Nwaba and without John Wall. And then we have like Rudy Gay. Oops, not Rudy Ray. Gay at 4,000. Should get some more minutes without Aldridge. But definitely love Diallo at that price tag. It's just really, really cheap. At power forward, you have Giannis. If you can get up to him, that's fine. The Pacers are on a back-to-back. Giannis, of course, the time that I play him, the game ends up getting blown out, and he plays just 26 minutes. But he should be going back to it. He should be able to dominate the paint here in this one. Sabonis looks better than Giannis, I think, just based on price tag. He's only 8,300. Saw what he did last night. Just a monster. It's a tough spot against Milwaukee. Like, in terms of the paint, they are pretty solid in there with Giannis, and then Brook Lopez can block some shots. But I do like Sabonis, and I like the fact that his price tag is just getting ridiculously cheap now. He's 8,300 for a guy that's averaging 48, 47 DraftKings points on the season. Just doesn't make a ton of sense. He's definitely one of the core pieces I'm looking at power forward. Then we have like Hayward, looks fine at 72, especially if there's no Rozier. And without PJ Washington, that looks good for him. DeRozan is only 6,900 without Aldridge. That looks to be a good option. They do have Derek White back, so like the minutes are kind of going to be all over the place for them. But without Aldridge, that should benefit DeRozan a lot, and it should benefit like some of the other guys, the starters. Thaddeus Young continues to just be a triple-double, like continues to flirt with triple-doubles nightly basis. 3 straight games now. He's in play tonight. If you don't get more value, I think you can definitely be as a nice contrarian play, because played him last time and he wasn't even owned at all, and I don't expect him to be very popular on a 10-gamer, or maybe people will start to flock to him. But I think you could go to Keldon Johnson instead without Aldridge. He gives you a little bit more of a ceiling well, actually, Thaddeus Young probably gives you a higher ceiling with if he ends up hitting a triple-double. But Johnson, I think he gives you just like a better chance to kind of go nuts in this type of matchup against Minnesota without Aldridge. Moving down a position, playing power forward instead of small forward definitely help with the rebounding. And then you have like Baisley at 5,200. He looks fine. And mainly it touched on Gay, touched on Morris. Yeah, that's mainly it for now. So go ahead and plug in Jayshawn Tate at 4,700. Moving on to center, a few guys that I'm really considering, besides the couple at the top. In the pretty second tier, you have Christian Wood at 86. Then you have Sabonis at 83. They're my two favorite plays in that range and probably at the position. You have Al Horford at 6,000. He also looks to be a decent play. You have Zeller, although I'm not going to play him against Embiid. He's been really good and tearing it up since he's been back. Like a couple games ago, he was 3,400. I thought his price tag, like I mentioned, his price tag would probably get up to the mid 4K. He got up to the 5K range pretty quickly. But yeah, definitely think that I'll spend up a bit at center. Besides, like probably Horford is the cheapest I'll go. But I'm going to go ahead and plug in Christian Wood. A few games have gone blown out, so he hasn't had to play a lot of the fourth quarter the last couple games. But he's a guy that will play 30-plus minutes in close games, like 32 to 35. And he's a guy that can absolutely just tear it up, especially here against OKC. Should have a really good spot against Baisley. Horford is just getting up there in age, so his quickness is definitely slowed. And the Thunder just give up a ton of points. So if I wanted to get a couple Rockets, I think can't go wrong with Oladipo, Wood, and Tate to build around. And then the final OKC play that I would have is definitely Maladon at 4,300. Going to play high 30s of minutes, I would assume, if this game is close. They just don't have a ton of other bodies. He's a guy that will have the ball in his hands a ton. SGA does command a high usage rate, so he'll be able to get more assists, more rebounds, more scoring, more shots. Everything just looks better for him at a cheap price tag in a fine spot against Houston. Their defense has been better, but they're going to be missing a few guys tonight, so maybe that will definitely take a hit. Like Gordon starting over Wall, that's not going to help their defense either, so definitely like Maladon at his cheap price tag. And that is pretty much it. For the DraftKings side, like definitely when I opened the slate, I knew I wanted to get a lot of Houston OKC, and that is going to be the game to stack up on a 10 gamer. That's definitely some way to go. Just to focus on one or two games, and then hopefully they go nuts. So that's it for the video for DraftKings. Let's jump over to FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel here, point guard, we have the two guys at the top, Luka and Trae Young. Then you have Westbrook, who could be resting. So 3 guys above 10,000. 2 probably will play. Don't know about Westbrook. I like Young more than Doncic tonight at home. $1,000 cheaper. Been playing better, and just doesn't like Luka has to deal with Porzingis. Young still has to deal with some other guys, but without Hunter, it's not. It's just been like a one-man show for him, just shooting and scoring a lot. And him and Capella do have a lot of chemistry. So for like Young at 10-4. And then you could go to like Fox. I love Fox. This doesn't let me down really ever, except for the time that he injured his hamstring. That sucked. But dropped 60 last game at very low ownership. On FanDuel, we put up 58. So he's a solid option. Plays a ton of minutes. Then we have Chris Paul. I'm not going to be playing him. I won't be interested in Drew Holiday. Or could look to Murray. You could look to LaMelo on FanDuel, at least at 66 if there's no Rozier. But then we have some cheap plays like Maladon is 4,800. More expensive, but he's in play on FanDuel. Then you could look to Ish Smith if they are going to be without Westbrook tonight. And that is pretty much it. See, I think Derek White might be his point guard is 53, so he's kind of out of the radar. Or, yeah, definitely not in my range. Shooting guard, Bradley Beal, if he plays, he's 10-8. He would be a good option if there's no Westbrook. If Westbrook plays, I won't be having him. Levine looks fine, but definitely want to get to Oladipo at 8,200. Just expecting 50 DraftKings or 50 FanDuel points from Oladipo. You could look to DeRozan here. You definitely could take a shot and go cheap here at this position for like Devontae Graham if they're without Rozier, or Halliburton, or Edwards. But I definitely want to pay up for at least one shooting guard. The Monk went absolutely bonkers last game. They kind of priced him out to 47. Don't expect him to be that hot from shooting. And he is definitely scoring dependent, so probably won't be going back to him unless they are without Rozier, then you could potentially take a shot if he happens to start in place at like Washington and they decide to go small. Although that wouldn't make a ton of sense against Philly. And then you have like Reddish, Herter. Reddish looks better, but still very risky of a play just because he's all over the place. And Diallo is just a guy that you probably want at 4,300. You have Lonnie Walker as a very different play at 4,000. And that's it. So small forward, Kawhi Leonard, great last night. Had like 6 stocks that helped on FanDuel, but he was great from the start. He had like 20-something fantasy points after the first quarter. Knew it was going to be a good day with Kawhi right from the get-go. Then we have Brown. I'm not playing 87 for Brown. I'd rather go to Jimmy Butler against Washington. Washington team that gives up a ton of points, absolutely plays no defense. Should see a big game from Butler. I like Gordon Hayward a bit at 74. Without PJ Washington, that should help with some rebounding, and maybe without Rozier as well, that will definitely help him again. But Keldon Johnson, this is a very deep position to go cheap at. You have Keldon Johnson at 57 without Aldridge, a guy that has 40-point upside, easy at 5,700. He's definitely a good play. Eric Gordon is below $5,000. He's 4,900. Rui Hachimura, if they are without Westbrook, he's 4,700. It gets better and better. Then we have Dort at 44. I don't ever really play Dort. But this would be the day to play him if you want to. But the reason I don't think I need to play him today is because you have Bridges at 42. Without Washington, he should start tonight. You have Jayshawn Tate at 39. You have Daniel House at 39. Like Tate and House, one of them will probably have a very good game. I'll go with Jayshawn Tate, a guy that has shown ability already this season. Then you also have Rudy Gay at 3,900 without Aldridge. He will see a bump in minutes. But Tate at 3,900 on FanDuel, a guy that has been playing like mid-20s in minutes. Closer games, he can play like 28, 32. When they were shorthanded a bit, he was playing heavy minutes. So he's a guy that they trust and will give good minutes to. At this price tag, he's shown like to have a 9x ceiling. Like 9, he can even maybe drop you like 8 to 10x value if he has a really, really good game. So he's a guy that I'll definitely have a lot of interest in. So go ahead and plug him in at 3,900. Power forward, another pretty deep position here. You have, at the top, you have Sabonis and Christian Wood, two guys that both look strong. Then we have like, if you wanted to go all the way up for Tatum, you could, or Giannis, you can. But I do like the couple that we have in the 8K range with Wood and Sabonis and Randall. Then you also have plenty of cheap plays here at power forward with Baisley at only 5,100. You have Tice at 49 against Sacramento. Sacramento plays no defense. You have Morris potentially if they are without one of these studs. Absolutely done with Bertans, but if there's no Westbrook, he would be a decent option. And that is pretty much it here. Like Tucker, if you're a big PJ Tucker fan, you can play him at 3,900. But I think I'll probably stick with like Sabonis or Christian Wood. Both look really, really good. Hopefully I don't pick the wrong one. But give me Christian Wood. And then at center, I like a few guys. At 8,800, I think you can go to Capella against Dallas. It's a spot where should be able to have his way in the paint against this Dallas defense. They have given up some big games to centers this season. Clint Capella has shown a huge ceiling with the blocks especially. Super valuable on FanDuel, so he looks to be a good option. And then I like Al Horford at only 6,500. He is pretty cheap for the way that he's been playing and the fact that they're without SGA. Then you have Thaddeus Young. They now moved him to center. 58. It's like I like playing on power forward when I had to roster 2. Center, hopefully he doesn't have a bad game, but he's still on my radar just because he's been playing so good without Wendell Carter. I think I will go up to Capella just because I do have a lot of value that I like, and I do like the price tag on FanDuel at least. That's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will be locked into this Houston OKC game tonight, hoping the game stack goes off. That's what I will be doing tonight, unless something really changes on the slate, like unless Westbrook's out or something crazy. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the video, and best of luck today.